Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler, and I'm here to talk a little bit today about target test prep and how instrumental it was in my journey while studying and preparing for the GMAT. A little bit about me. After graduating college, I went to work at NBC Universal where I did a rotational program. Basically, I worked 3 jobs over the course of 2 years, mostly in like a business analyst or project manager type of function. And then a little bit later, I moved to a company called FanDuel, which is a daily fantasy sports and US sportsbook company. And for the last 2 years, I've been there working as a product owner on their data teams. And then just as a high level, my first GMAT mock test score was a 650. And then eventually my final score that I got on my second attempt was a 760, which I was very, very happy with. And so I started studying very kind of inconsistently around May of 2022. And all I used was a book that I had found on Amazon. And then basically after that, I took my first mock test. I had never performed very well on standardized tests, especially like in high school. And so I kind of assumed that my natural ceiling would maybe be around like a 700 or maybe a 710. And that's what I was initially targeting. But then I was talking to a friend who had recently gotten admitted to a top MBA program, and she had gotten a 740 on the test. And my mind was just like blown. I was like, you have to, like, what did you use to prepare? And she told me that all she used was target test prep. And so I immediately was like, okay, if you use that, then that has to be what I use. And then I signed up basically immediately after I had that conversation. So I started studying with target test prep in July of 2020. Very inconsistently. Obviously, like sometimes I would study more and then sometimes I would study less, but I kind of wanted a program that would have some of that built-in flexibility, especially so it could accommodate like my work life and some other things I had going on at the time. And I also wasn't totally committed to applying to an MBA program. So I wanted to kind of take it slow and, take it at my own pace and see how it went. And then to give the timeline of my preparation, I used target test prep from July of 2022 to, and then fast forward to about January of 2023, where I realized I needed to set a test date to really push me to get through the rest of the material. I didn't have that much left, and I wanted to just get my first attempt in the books. So I scheduled it for March, and then leading up to that first exam, I kind of panicked a little bit. I think my test anxiety came back and I was cramming a lot. But I ended up getting a 700, which I was definitely happy with. And that was, again, originally kind of what I thought I could achieve if I studied and worked hard for it. But when I went back and I was looking at the materials and how I was performing against target test prep's like test questions, I felt a little more confident, and I felt like, maybe I could perform a little bit better if I took some more time and tried it again. So over the following like 4 weeks or so, all I did was do quant review. Basically, that was like my weakest point by far. And I hadn't taken a quant course, in my actual education in like 9 years or so. So that's what I did. I used it completely to review. And then I also used some mock questions that I got from an official GMAT guide just to kind of supplement that towards the end. And then in, I guess it would have been March or early April of 2023, I took a practice exam and I got a 760. And I was like, okay, like this is real. I think I can do this. I felt really good about the exam while I was taking it. And so I followed the advice that I'd gotten from target test prep. I kind of restructured my life balance, my work-life balance around the exam at the end. So I was not cramming. I was taking it a little bit easier. I was focusing on, exercising and just studying slow and just doing practice questions and just reviewing concepts, but not stressing myself out too much. And then I went back. I took a test. I signed up on a Saturday. I took it that Sunday when I felt ready. And then I got a 760 on my second attempt, which, was like the dream. It was really the best case scenario for me. So I think target test prep for me made the difference mostly because I really needed the quant. And the way the quant lessons are broken up are just really logical and they're very easy to follow. And there are so many practice questions that are designed not just for you to get practice, but for you to be thinking in the right way and approaching questions in the right way. I feel like they also kind of build the course material out in a way that's really helpful because it helps you switch between verbal and quant. So you're not focusing too much on one thing for too long. You're kind of getting a healthy mix. And I felt like the material built itself up over time, so the further you went, the better that you got, not just at the concepts you were currently studying, but also the concepts that you had already gone through before, so you weren't really forgetting much, which was really helpful for me. And then for any personal advice I would want to give related to the GMAT prep, I would say consistency is key. I think things started getting a lot better for me when I started studying every day. I mean, even if it was just for 30 minutes, if that's all I could do, I think that was really helpful for me in figuring out the time management piece, because it's a lot of hours and it's really hard. And some days you just don't have a lot of time that you can devote to studying, but I think kind of pushing myself to find just something I could work on that day, every day was really instrumental for me. And then also I think the key between my first and second attempts was just getting a mix of practice questions. I didn't feel like I was cramming. I was just more like re-reviewing my flashcards that I had made. I was just doing mock questions, and I felt like overall it got me comfortable with the pacing, especially of the quant section. And it helped me figure out how to just move through concepts, when things keep changing and the types of questions keep changing. It helped me move along and find my rhythm and not get too tripped up when there was something that I didn't know how to do, which was really helpful. And then just to summarize, I would say that I've always found exams and standardized tests as a source of stress for me, and maybe a stress of, like low self-esteem. And I feel really fortunate that the GMAT, it ended up not being that way for me. And then even further than that, the process actually made me feel kind of empowered. I feel more ready to pursue an MBA now than I did before. And I feel like I could actually succeed in that type of environment. And I'm really grateful that this experience, wasn't just positive, but it actually helped me build my confidence overall in the application process. And I definitely credit Target Test Prep for giving me everything I needed to do well on the GMAT. It just took work over many, many months. It was helpful to view the test as a marathon and not just a sprint, and go at my own pace, study, not just the material on the test, but the actual strategy of how to approach it and how to use your time and how to, battle things like test anxiety, which can be really difficult. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Again, I would highly, highly recommend Target Test Prep. It was totally it made all the difference for me. And I'm really happy that I found it and that it got me such a great score. So hope that helps. And all right, thanks for watching. Bye.